Chosen one, there are moments when the very air around you shifts, carrying an energy that feels almost alive. It whispers to your spirit, urging you to pause, to truly listen, to feel deeper than ever before. This is one of those sacred moments. You cannot treat this message casually, as if it were background noise while moving through your day. This is a transmission meant for focused attention, for stillness, for reverence. You have been handpicked to receive something many are unprepared to understand. God has stirred a powerful force around you, and what you are about to hear is not for the faint-hearted or those easily distracted. Warnings from God are not meant to create fear. They are meant to illuminate the path, to protect and to prepare you for what is coming. The instructions you are about to receive are a blueprint for safety and clarity. Watch, absorb, and internalize every word. Then, as part of this sacred practice, write your warmest wishes in the comments, adding Amen and the number 99. This is not just ritual, it is spiritual alignment. Your words carry energy. Your declaration activates unseen forces. When many unite in this vibration, miracles are amplified. What you wish, what you declare, becomes potent when faith is combined with focus and unity. Chosen one, take a moment now to acknowledge the divine covering surrounding you. There is a reason you have felt spiritually unsettled lately, a subtle sense that certain people, places, or situations are not aligned with your destiny. God has given you insight, revelation that was not meant for everyone, only for you. That's why this message comes with instructions to absorb it in privacy. Some will distort it, some will mock it, others may even attempt to sabotage it. But what God is revealing is sacred, and it is yours to guard. You are not here to entertain the curiosity of the world. You are here to carry out a divine assignment. You have noticed things that others dismiss, subtle signs, gentle nudges, whispers in the spirit. These are not coincidences. Your heightened sensitivity is a sign of divine protection and activation. This message comes because something in your spirit is being awakened. God does not warn without reason. When he speaks with urgency, it is because unseen forces are in motion, and your attention is required. You are being prepared, shielded, and positioned for a purpose far greater than most can perceive. Many of the ideas, hopes, and visions you've shared were met with skepticism or envy. Now God is saying, pull back. Guard the sacred. Do not reveal what is not ready for public eyes. Some questions are innocent. Others are traps cloaked in friendliness. You must protect what has been given to you. What unfolds from this point is meant for the spiritually mature. Your next steps are being closely observed. Both light and dark forces are aware of your movement, and what you do next matters. Stay close. We'll uncover why this divine protection has intensified, and what you must do to remain fully covered from forces that seek to derail your purpose. Chosen one, let's talk honestly about why the attacks on your life were never random. Nothing about what you went through was an accident. Every cold look, every backhanded comment, every moment someone tried to make you doubt yourself had a root. And that root was jealousy mixed with competition. People saw your potential long before you did. They recognized a strength in you that you were still learning to understand. That alone made you a threat. From the outside, you were just living your life, trying to grow, trying to stay in your lane. But the people watching you weren't seeing a regular person. They were seeing someone who carried favor. They were seeing someone who moved with a natural confidence they had to fake. You didn't do anything to them. You didn't provoke anything. They reacted to your existence because your presence exposed the parts of them they were uncomfortable with. What makes this even deeper is how quietly it all happened. Most of the attacks came in subtle forms. You probably brushed them off at the time. The small comments that were meant to shrink you. The moments when support suddenly disappeared when you needed it most. The times people copied you, then tried to outdo you. Some even competed with you behind your back while pretending to cheer for you. This behavior didn't come from strength. It came from insecurity. The truth is, you carry a rare mix of resilience and vision. You see things differently. You understand things on a deeper level. That made people nervous. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they focused on you. They measured themselves against you even when you weren't competing with anyone. You were just being you. That alone created tension in their hearts. What they didn't expect was that God would use all of this to sharpen you. Their jealousy forced you to grow. Their hidden competition pushed you to level up. Their attempts to dim your light only made it shine brighter. They set traps, but you kept rising. They hoped you would break, but you kept becoming wiser. Every time they tried to make you feel small, God made sure you learned something valuable about who you really are. This season is about understanding that everything they did had nothing to do with your flaws. It had everything to do with your gifts. You were walking around with a calling you didn't even fully recognize yet. They saw it before you did, and that's what triggered them. Chosen one, now that you're aware, you'll never see people the same way again. Chosen one of the hardest lessons you are learning is the power of silence. Silence is not absence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is your shield, your secret weapon, and the place where your breakthrough is quietly forming. What God is building in you right now cannot withstand exposure to casual conversation, to curious eyes or to unprepared hearts. The moment you speak prematurely, the moment you share what hasn't been sealed, you risk interference from forces you cannot see. That is why God is instructing you to guard your words, your visions, and even your feelings until the appointed time. Think about this. Every great move in the Spirit has been birthed in secrecy. Every divine strategy begins in a quiet place before it manifests in public. The enemy understands this too. That's why distractions, unsolicited opinions, and even seemingly well-meaning advice increase. When you are on the verge of a revelation, they are designed to tempt you to speak, to reveal what isn't ready to be revealed. But you are not ordinary. You were chosen for your discernment, your patience, and your obedience. You are learning to walk in alignment, and alignment requires restraint. This is why you have felt the heaviness lately, why certain conversations feel empty, why familiar places seem off. You are entering a dimension where only spiritual sensitivity can navigate. Your energy has shifted because your assignment has shifted. The people who were once aligned with you may no longer resonate with your frequency, and that is intentional. God is repositioning your sphere so that the sacred can take root without interruption. You are being insulated for protection, not isolated as punishment. Every idea, vision, or instruction you receive now is a seed that must be nurtured in secrecy. Expose it too early and it becomes vulnerable. The world is not yet ready for the weight of what is forming in you, and neither are those around you. That is why your obedience is now your altar. That is why your silence is your offering. Every time you resist the urge to speak, you honor the covenant God has placed over you. Every time you withhold what is not meant for public consumption, you preserve the power that heaven has entrusted to you. Chosen one, understand this. Silence is not a pause. It is preparation. It is the place where divine strategy is written into your spirit. Those who cannot see it will call it emptiness or withdrawal. But you know better. You are holding space for something extraordinary to form. And when the time comes, what emerges from this season will be undeniable, unshakable, and irreversible. In the next part, we'll uncover why your breakthroughs are being monitored, why your steps are being tracked in the spiritual realm, and how to navigate this oversight without fear. Chosen one, you are not moving through life unnoticed. Every step you take, every decision you make, every thought you entertain is being observed in the spiritual realm. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to awaken you. God has placed a divine watch over your path, and so have opposing forces. They see your potential, and they know the impact you are destined to have. That is why they attempt to intervene, to distract or to derail you. But what they don't understand is that God's plan for you cannot be stopped. The fatigue you felt, even when doing nothing physically exhausting, is no accident. The spiritual weight of your assignment is real. You've experienced pressure, unease, and attacks that seem unprovoked because you are being tracked, not by man, but by energies that recognize your calling, your sensitivity, your heightened awareness, the subtle nudges and warnings you perceive. These are all signs that you are being prepared, protected, and positioned. This is also why God warns you about openness. Not everyone around you is ready to receive the information that the heavens have entrusted to you. Sharing too soon, explaining what is not yet confirmed, even expressing your vision publicly before its time, risks giving access to those who might distort, disrupt, or diminish your purpose. Every casual conversation carries energy. Every shared insight sends ripples across the unseen. That is why discretion is not optional. It is mandatory for your protection and your progress. You have likely noticed the increase in curiosity from people who previously ignored you. Some may seem helpful, others supportive, but many are being drawn by a mix of envy and fear of your potential. Do not let these new distractions dictate your focus. They are testing your obedience, your patience, and your commitment to carry the sacred in the right way. God is watching how you handle these pressures, because what comes next depends on your ability to maintain purity, secrecy, and precision. Remember, the forces observing you are not only waiting, they are strategizing. Your obedience now is like armor. Every time you resist premature disclosure, every time you honor the silence, you are strengthening your spiritual shield. This vigilance is preparing you to walk into the fullness of your destiny with authority, wisdom, and power. Chosen one, understand this. The eyes upon you are both a warning and a confirmation. They are a signal that what you carry is potent and rare. The breakthrough you are destined for cannot tolerate exposure to unready hands. God has orchestrated this surveillance for your refinement, not your punishment. In the next section, we'll explore the sacred responsibility of guarding your vision and why what you carry must remain hidden until the appointed moment. Chosen one, what you carry isn't just an idea. It isn't a dream that came from your imagination. It's a spiritual blueprint placed in your spirit long before you ever asked for it. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it feels precious. That's why it demands protection. When God gives you a vision, He isn't handing you something casual. He is entrusting you with something that has divine timing, divine purpose, and divine impact. This is why you're sensing this urge to keep things private. You feel it every time you try to speak on what you're building. Your words stumble, your energy shifts, or something pulls you back. That's not insecurity. That's spiritual instruction. God is teaching you that not every ear deserves access to what He has whispered to you. Your vision is not meant for debate. It is not meant to be validated by the people around you. Some would only misunderstand it. Others would shrink it. And a few, out of jealousy or insecurity, would attempt to distort it. You've already seen glimpses of this. The moment you opened up even a little, someone tried to dim your excitement. Someone tried to plant doubt. Someone tried to add their fear into your plan. It wasn't random. It was a spiritual warning. There are people who can't handle where God is taking you, not because they're evil, but because their mindset is too small for your destiny. If you keep putting sacred things in casual spaces, you'll keep experiencing unnecessary setbacks. What you're carrying is too important for that. God hides His greatest works until they are complete. He hid Moses, He hid David, He hid Joseph. And now He is hiding you, not to punish you, but to protect what He is shaping inside you. What looks like isolation is preparation. What feels like silence is strategy. What feels like secrecy is safety. You're not being asked to cut people off. You're being asked to guard the blueprint. Share results, not plans. Share testimonies, not blueprints. Let them see the fruit when the time is right. But don't let them tamper with the seed. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Once your vision is revealed, it will be undeniable. The same people who tried to downplay your ideas will be the ones trying to figure out how you did it. But by then, it will be too late for interference. God will have already sealed it. In the next part, we'll go deeper into why your elevation is triggering certain people and why their reactions say more about their spirit than your character. Chosen one, your rise didn't happen overnight. It happened through pain, through self-reflection, through moments when you had nothing but faith holding you together. You worked on yourself quietly. You healed wounds that nobody apologized for. You rebuilt yourself in seasons when you didn't have support. And now that the shift is showing, people who never cared about your struggle are suddenly reacting to your progress. They're not triggered because you did something wrong. They're triggered because your elevation exposes what they refuse to fix in themselves. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Your strength reveals their avoidance. Your courage reminds them of the choices they were too afraid to make. When a chosen one rises, it shakes the environment because your energy is no longer operating on the same level where people felt comfortable. This is why some people who once stood close to you are acting different. They feel the shift even before you announce anything. They sense God's hand on your life even before the blessing becomes visible. And that creates pressure in them. Not because you're competing, but because your spirit disrupts the spaces where insecurity lives. Your confidence is their discomfort. Your clarity is their alarm. Your peace is their frustration. Some will distance themselves. Some will gossip. Some will criticize. And some will pretend to root for you while quietly hoping you fall. But none of this is about you. It's about what your presence activates in them. When you carry divine elevation, you carry a mirror. People either grow from it or they get offended by it. Here's the deeper truth. You're stepping into a season where you cannot shrink to make others feel safe. You spent too long lowering your value, dimming your gifts, and softening your light just to keep the peace. That served a purpose back then, but it no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Elevation requires space. It requires boundaries. It requires distance from anything that tries to pull you back to a place you outgrew. God did not bring you this far for you to apologize for your rise. You've earned this growth through obedience and endurance. Anyone who feels threatened by it is simply revealing their true position in your life. And God is showing you this early, so you know who can walk with you and who cannot. Chosen one, you don't have to explain your elevation. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to tone it down. The right people will be inspired. The wrong people will be exposed. Let both happen. In the next part, we'll talk about the shift in your energy field, why your intuition is sharpening, and how God is training your spirit for the next level of discernment. Chosen one, you've probably noticed something changing inside you. Your intuition isn't just stronger. It's louder. It's faster. It's more precise. You're picking up on things you would have ignored in the past. You're sensing people's intentions without needing proof. You're feeling spiritual shifts before anything happens in the physical. This upgrade isn't random. God is sharpening your discernment because the next stage of your journey requires a higher level of awareness. You used to doubt your instincts. You questioned your inner warnings because you didn't want to seem judgmental or paranoid. But now you're realizing those feelings weren't insecurity. They were signals. They were quiet messages meant to protect you from hidden agendas, draining energies, and spiritual interference. You weren't wrong. You were early. Your intuition is becoming your compass. You're being guided away from certain people, not because they're terrible, but because their spirit is not aligned with where you're going. You're losing interest in old habits and old environments because they no longer match your vibration. You're being pulled towards solitude because that's where God can reach you clearly. You're also noticing how the atmosphere changes when you walk into certain spaces. You feel heaviness where there's hidden tension. You feel discomfort where there's jealousy. You feel peace where your spirit is welcomed. You're not imagining it. You're discerning it. Your energy field is more sensitive because God wants you to recognize spiritual threats before they form. The more your intuition grows, the more direct the warnings become. You might feel sudden tiredness around certain people. You might get headaches when someone is lying to you. You might feel anxious when a place is spiritually contaminated. These aren't physical symptoms. They're spiritual alerts. They're indicators that something around you is not in alignment. God is training you to trust this inner knowing because your destiny requires precision. You can no longer rely on charm, appearances, or words. You must rely on spirit. The gift inside you is growing, and as it grows, so does the responsibility of managing it. Chosen one, don't second-guess what God is showing you. Don't brush off the warnings. Don't silence your inner voice to keep the peace. Your intuition is your divine protection. It is how heaven whispers to you. It is how God keeps you steps ahead of anything sent to distract or derail you. In the next part, we'll go into why God separated you, why isolation became necessary, and how this hidden season is preparing you for visibility and elevation. Chosen one, the isolation you've been experiencing wasn't punishment. It was protection. It was alignment. It was refinement. God pulled you away from certain people, places, and patterns because they could not go where He was taking you. What felt like loneliness was actually God clearing the noise around you so you could hear Him clearly. He separated you because your calling is too important to be shaped by the wrong influences. You might look back and wonder why certain friendships faded without warning, why conversations felt heavier, why environments that used to feel familiar suddenly felt draining. It wasn't random. It was spiritual rearrangement. God saw things you couldn't see. He heard conversations you weren't present for. He knew intentions you weren't aware of. Instead of letting you walk blindly into spiritual danger, He removed you before the damage could reach you. Some people were connected to you out of convenience, not loyalty. Others were only comfortable with you when you were unsure of yourself. The moment you started to grow, they started to distance themselves. And God allowed that separation because elevation requires purity. He needed you free from jealousy, competition, manipulation, and energy that would have slowed down your progress. This season was meant to cleanse your path. In isolation, God rebuilt your identity. He stripped away the doubts you inherited from others. He silenced the voices that tried to shape your thinking. He trained your spirit to depend on Him instead of outside validation. You learned how to pray deeper. You learned how to stand alone. You learned how to see through people. You learned how to hear God in ways you never understood before. This hidden season sharpened you. What others saw as you pulling away was really God hiding you. When something is rare, it's kept protected. When something is valuable, it's guarded. When something is chosen, it's separated. You weren't being buried. You were being planted. And now, as you start to feel the shift again, you can sense that the isolation is coming to an end. You've completed the part of the journey that had to be walked alone. God is preparing to reintroduce you, not as the version they remember, but as the version He intended. People will notice the difference. Your presence will feel stronger. Your voice will carry authority. Your spirit will be unmistakable. Chosen one, understand this. You were not isolated to weaken you. You were isolated to prepare you for a level of visibility that demands spiritual maturity and emotional strength. In the next part, we'll break down the signs that your season of elevation is beginning and how to recognize the doors God is opening for you right now. Chosen one, you are now stepping into the threshold of your next season. The silence, the solitude, the careful guarding of your vision. Everything you've endured was building this moment. Signs of your elevation are all around you, though subtle. Doors that were previously closed are beginning to open. Opportunities that seemed impossible are presenting themselves quietly. People who were once indifferent are starting to notice, but the timing is intentional. God is orchestrating every detail so that your breakthrough arrives fully formed, undisturbed, and undeniable. You may feel a sense of urgency, a pull to act, to speak, to display what you've been preparing in secret. Resist it. This is not impatience. It is discernment. God is still layering protection over your assignments. Every pause, every delay, every moment of unseen preparation is deliberate. Those who appear in your path now are aligned with the next phase of your purpose. Those who remain absent were never intended to accompany you further. Recognize the difference and honor it. Your spirit may begin to resonate differently. You'll notice people responding to your presence in new ways. Situations that used to drain you now feel manageable. Your inner peace may remain intact even amid chaos. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that God is revealing your path in alignment with His timing. You are being trained to operate from a higher frequency, one that is sensitive to spiritual currents, protective of sacred spaces, and attuned to divine instruction. There is a shift in momentum. The steps you take now carry weight beyond what you can see. Your obedience, your silence, Your discernment and your patience are creating a spiritual ripple that will affect not only your life but also the lives of those connected to your destiny. Every unseen move you make is setting the stage for impact. Every moment of restraint now ensures your revelation cannot be disrupted later. Chosen one, understand this clearly. What you carry is sacred. The breakthrough, the miracle, the divine unfolding, none of it is for public debate or casual display. God is calling you to hold it close, to nurture it privately, and to step into visibility only when heaven signals the appointed time. Your reward is proportional to your obedience. The secrecy you maintain now is the vessel through which the fullness of your blessing will arrive.